the show, let's cut across to Shireen Bhan, who's speaking to Jeetu Patel of CISCO from the India AI Impact Summit.
Hello and welcome to CNBC-TV18's special coverage. We're live from the India AI Impact Summit. I'm Shireen Bhan. A lot of the conversation so far has been focused on what AI can potentially do, how disruptive is it going to be, but also how transformative will it be in the long term. To talk to us about CISCO's plans with AI and for AI, joining me now is Jeetu Patel. Jeetu, always great to have you. Thanks very much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. You know, let's start by talking about what we're seeing happen today. The tech has clearly accelerated at a much faster pace than anyone expected it to, but adoption is still patchy and it's lagging fairly behind the advancements that we're seeing on tech.
Yeah, so firstly, thank you for having me on the show and welcome to the CISCO booth. So if you take a step back, what's happening in AI right now? We're moving from this first phase that was around chatbots intelligently answering questions to now agents being able to conduct tasks and jobs for us fully autonomously. And if you think about the big structural shift that's happening, it's important to take a moment and actually reflect on it. It's not just about using this as a tool for productivity. These are digital co-workers that are going to be augmented to our teams. And they'll actually be part of the team in the way that they work.
Digital co-workers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's going to get, it starts with knowledge work, but then as physical AI and robotics actually starts to pick up, you will start seeing this in every sector where you'll actually have additional capacity getting augmented to what we currently have with the human corpus. And what that allows us to do with the human corpus of knowledge is making sure that we can continue to go out and solve problems we could never solve before. Now, going back to your question on, the capability overhang is real. There's the ability for the exponential curve continuing on these innovations is very rampant, but organizations take a while for the absorption rate to actually catch up. So this is the one, in 2026, what we want to see is absorption rates of organizations start to catch up with the pace that AI is moving at. And you're now starting to see that in certain areas, like for example, in coding and development.
Right.
We are now seeing a tremendous amount of progress being made over there that we would not even think possible 6 months ago. And you'll actually start seeing that in multiple different industries.
Well, speaking of the changes that we're seeing in the way that companies code, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing. You have your first product, which has been entirely built by AI out in the market, and you expect, what, half a dozen more?
Yes, Shireen, this is actually funny because a year ago when we would talk about this, people would think we're crazy, saying that this is going to be an area where we will start seeing AI build products almost entirely. And now what you're seeing is not just CISCO, but Claude Code is being entirely being built by Claude Code, and Codex is entirely being built by Codex. We were lucky enough that we were one of the first design partners of Codex, several months ago. And what we were able to do is really start thinking about the workflows that a developer actually uses, getting completely rethought. So today what we have is 100% of our code in a product called AI Defense, which is a safety and security product, that is now being built with AI. And you're absolutely correct. Our goal is to make sure that we have at least a half a dozen products by the end of the year. But over time, it's not just the fact that they're being built by AI. You'll actually be able to solve problems and build the kind of code that's way better than what just humans could do. But the question that then comes up is, what do engineers do?
Yeah, exactly. What happens to humans?
And so, firstly, syntax is only about 20 to 30% of the job of an engineer. How you think about what products to build, are they going to be relevant for the market? Are you going to make sure that you drive a level of rigor in the thinking of it? That's an area that humans are still going to be very valuable at. So the goal is going to change. You're going to move from
So how are you reorienting your teams already?
We're completely changing the workflow. So the way that we used to think about building these tools and code was engineers would basically be writing code, and that became the bottleneck. That is no longer the bottleneck, but reviewing code is definitely going to be a bottleneck. Identifying and applying human judgment to what specific products to build is still something that you're going to need humans for. But what you now have is aided capacity. So if you had a certain number of workers, engineers in the world, that's going to compound in volume. And as a result, you'll have much, much more software. But you have to make sure that you keep in mind that AI slop can't be a natural byproduct of it. You have to make sure that you build good quality software for the market.
When we talk about agents and the concern and the worry is, are there enough guardrails in place? We do already have instances of agents going rogue. I mean, that's a problem you're trying to solve, but how worried are you about that?
Well, see, firstly, the blast radius used to be that an AI is going to give me the wrong answer. That's no longer the blast radius. The blast radius now is AI going to take the wrong action, which has a far greater consequence than just give me the wrong answer. So what we have to do is take a step back and say, what do we need to do in every single systematic way to fundamentally rethink every role that a company has within an organization? The workflows have to change. If you just use this as a tool for productivity, you're going to get marginal improvements. If you think about this as an augmentation to your capacity planning model, you will see a very, very different kind of outcome.
The CapEx